TFR.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Ding, ding, ding. Good morning. Ding, ding, ding. Ba, 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 bow, bow, ba, 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 bow. Good morning. Ba, bow, bow, ba, 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 bow. Good morning. Ba, bow, bow, ba, 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 bow. Beautiful day. Ba, 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 bow. It's a beautiful day. Ding, ding, ding.
Hi, this is Alan. I like Ironworx because it's where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
I love Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zach. It's like sitting in your front room having a cosy chat with your best friends.
Hi, it's Diva here, and I just want you to know that Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zach, it's definitely my favourite dose of reality. Come join the family and keep it flat.
Why sleep in when you could get your dose of iron in the morning? Listen to the Ironworx on TFR.
This is Enlightened Dawn. Roses are red, violets are blue. Iron Realm Media is the best on the plane. To this show, I will forever be true. You guys are truly the best, and I love you guys. I'm so thankful to have you in my life.
Do you like listening to space letters from Never a Straight Answer? Then tune in to The Ironworx with Zach, Walter, and Josh. Break clear of the fear on the Ironworx and become an Iron Scout.
It is Tuesday, my dudes.
Sorry. Apparently I was all muted up so nobody could actually hear your introduction, but they knew you were here. Lucas has been in the garden trying to get his gardening started early so that his broccoli and cauliflowers and everything are nice and big. That's my fault. You know what? I actually had to restart OBS during the intro, so I had to hope that it came back up in time for me to start streaming. It was a whole deal. It's been quite a morning already for me. Somebody else has been quite a morning for is one Mr. Zachary Zabala, or Good Times for All on YouTube. Zach, how are you doing, sir?
Hey, Josh. Hey, Lucas, Walt, everybody out there in TFR land. Yeah, about, 4 hours of sleep maybe, something like that. And then I finally comprehend magnetic induction. It's so simple. It's all very simple, folks. It's all pressure mediation. That's what everything is. Once you get that down and apply that to your way of thinking about how stuff works, it's just a great tool to have in your arsenal for comprehending these things. But yeah, here, I'll show you. This is what I've been playing with this weekend so far. I'm going to start spinning magnets. Stuff like that, and then put coils around there. I just want to figure out how this stuff works, and seeing how they do the magnets and stuff, or how they wind the coils. As soon as I saw that, it really clicked and made sense. Like, oh, okay, I get it now. We had Nathan and Austin and the crew come by over the weekend and hang out. It was a really fun time, and I was standing there in the kitchen when I had my aha moment, and I was like, oh my God. And they all looked at me like, what's wrong? What? Are you okay? I was like, no, I get it. It was just, it was one of those good aha moments. It just hit me all of a sudden, and I made like a big harumph about it. Not meaning to, but so it was a great weekend.
Well, good.
I had a lot of comprehension this weekend, I say.
That's awesome. And last but never the least in our hearts, Walter Johnson, or Flat Earth Head on YouTube. Walter, how was your weekend, sir?
Good morning, everybody. I'm good. Had a good weekend.
running around, dealing with family adventures, birthday parties and whatnot, breaking all kind of regulations and what have you. So, but yeah, good weekend. Found an interesting book. I will share some of that with you guys here in just a little while. Not yet. I'm not quite awake enough to actually read. Takes more coffee than this. But I'm here. I'm ready. How are you, Joshua?
Yeah.
I like it.
So, Sunday. Is it Sunday?
Sunday.
It was Sunday or Saturday. I got a text from my mother. It said 911. So I missed it for about the first 15 minutes. So I texted her back. I said, "Are you okay?" And as I pressed send, I thought, well, why the fuck would she send me a 911 text if she was okay? So as soon as I pressed send on the text, I pressed call on the phone. So the phone's ringing. Her text says no. So she answers the phone and says, "Don't be mad at me." I said, "All right. Why shouldn't I be mad at you?" To paraphrase, because getting the story was so difficult. And from the bits and pieces that I've gathered since, it would seem Tuesday of last week, my mom called 911 for herself and had the ambulance come and pick her up. She's pretty out of it. She thinks, basically, I'm pretty sure she's convinced, and anything else is just her going along to get along. But I'm pretty sure she's convinced that she's in some sort of government testing facility where people that shouldn't be doing things to her are doing things to her. She's on 100% of oxygen 24 hours a day. She's got about 89% O2 levels as it is. So she's not getting a whole lot of oxygen. She says she's got pneumonia, congestive heart failure, COPD. But it's really her mental state that is most worrisome. She's tried to check herself out of the hospital probably a dozen times in the past week against medical advice. But because she is of such a diminished mental capacity, there's no way they could let her out of the hospital. Because without oxygen, she would die. She was literally cyanotic, turning blue at the nurse's station, trying to sign herself out. So yeah, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting ride. My sister and I are going to try to get her to sign her medical power of attorney over. Don't think she's going to make it back home. She's got about another week left in the ICU. Yeah, it sucks. I was completely caught off guard. Did not think she would go downhill that fast. But her blood sugar was way out of whack, just completely nuts. So they've been giving her 4 shots of insulin a day, trying to get her blood sugar back under control. Trying to get her oxygen levels stabilized. It's going to be something. Yeah, she's got another week in the ICU before they give her a bed. Then once they give her a bed, they'll eventually have to probably send her on to some sort of rehab unit. Maybe a psych ward, depending on how her mental abilities progress from here as they get a handle on her health. If that's what's causing a lot of the issues, then she should become a bit more lucid. But in the meantime, she's just being a downright miserable bitch to everybody around her. Just mean and nasty. So, we shall see. So yeah, it's been an interesting weekend. Been lots of interesting. Thanks guys so much for all the love in the chat. I do appreciate it. It's been basically my biggest fear, once we left and moved out and I came out here to the new place. the one thing that I figured that would really pop my balloon in all this would, be if she just completely went downhill and just couldn't live on her own. That we left her there in a position where she was unable to take care of herself. And it seems that's pretty much what we did. So it's all right.
Well, to be fair, Josh, you can't put all that on your guys' shoulders.
And I don't.
Yeah, you can't. It was a mutual thing that happened between you guys while you moved out. It wasn't like you were, doing it vindictively or anything like that. It was not a good situation that was happening while you were there.
Yeah, and it's just my issues because I had already thought about this before we moved out. So when it just starts to manifest and materialize, then it just...
I hear you. Yeah, it's rough. But yeah, don't put all that on your shoulders, man.
My sister said the same thing.
Yeah, that's not yours to bear.
You definitely can't carry all that for sure.
She says, I couldn't have even attempted it. Having her live with us would have never even entered my thought process because there's just no way. So that you even tried and lasted 9 months is...
There you go.
Yeah.
Something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if this helps or hurts, but at this time, I'm making sure I'm not wrong. I've thought it through. I know at least 3 elderly people who are all friends of mine or family members of mine's mothers, and a friend of mine who isn't that much older than me. And I guess it may be one of those things of just I know enough people at the right age. I'm trying to work this all out, but it is just incredible that after spending the weekend hearing from 2 of those people's mother, 2 of those people about their mother, how their mother has completely lost it. These people are now going in their house, bringing people to their house to steal from them, bringing people over and eating their food at night when they're in the bed, coming in the room at night and looking at her while she's sleeping with all kind of people in the house. This is happening to 3 older ladies who are mothers that I know and a friend of mine. And I'm trying to think, it seems like there's another person that told me this is going on with their dad.
Wow.
And this is all like within the last 2 weeks that suddenly everybody's mind has just snapped.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Here we are, new regime in the control center. Here we are with the push for 5G. There's a little town about 30 minutes from me, which is not a big center of any type. It is a little rinky-dinky town. And when we went to it the other day, the 5G on my phone, which I didn't even know my phone had, came on. Not in Lafayette yet, the bigger town, which would make sense for it to have the 5G, but this little small town the other direction that's completely not a big cultural center. Now, it is a port town, so that could be why. But it never got the 3G first. It didn't get the 4G first, so why is it getting the 5G first? I don't know. Lots of crazy shit going on right now.
Do you remember?
And then this with your mom suddenly out of nowhere when she seemed to be okay, and then boom, snap.
Well, do you remember last year? Last year when we went to Georgia, we had to go down there a few weeks ahead of time because she had a psychotic break. And she thought...
I do remember that. As I was saying that story, I think you told me this last year, actually, but I didn't want to say it out loud yet, so you remembered it. But yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, she had people that she thought were living under her house in her crawl space. And that they would come in and play the radio and talk on their phone. And like she'd be in the bathroom and she'd start to hear them and she'd be too scared to come out. So she'd just spend hours with herself locked in the bathroom thinking there was somebody out in her living room or locked in her bedroom because she thought that they were out eating her food.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And then
so I guess this has been coming with your mom, unfortunately.
Well, we also had a
these
neighbor.
other people, this was just out of the blue, completely left turn, no warning, just suddenly lost it and flipped, and now they're actually considering all the things you're considering.
We even had a neighbor that was at the old house who thought she had people living in her attic. And she thought they were coming down out of the attic and rummaging through her stuff and going through things and like, look, if you think that's what it is, you give us a call and we will come down and catch the bastards. So half dozen times maybe she'd call us at 2:00 in the morning and me and Dixie would get out of bed and put clothes on and go down there and walked through her house. I crawled up into her attic. Nobody there. Nobody's been in her attic in decades. It's all dusty. There's, obviously nobody there. But
yeah, you would see signs of if somebody was there.
Right.
Footprints, all kinds of different, yeah.
To this day, she swears there are people in her attic. Nothing you can do. No amount of convincing is going to get her to believe that people do not live in her attic. And she just lives in fear.
Maybe she's one of those receivers that,
Could be.
I mean, yeah, there's so many of them out there that say that they hear these things and it's...
Well, just think how as you get older and the elderly sort of seem to almost in a mental state start to revert to childlike state. And what if that's part of it? Because children are such open receivers. What if as you start to get closer to the source through the age that way, you begin to be a bit more of a receiver as well?
Maybe so.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
Well, I stopped for you to go ahead, Lucas, and you did not. So,
no. I was just like making a little comment on. Don't wait for me.
That's fine. Well, really quick, thank you so much, Alan Holman, there in chat, a super chat for much love to Josh and his mom, which thank you all in chat for all the love heading Josh's way. You guys rock.
Yes, thank you so much.
One of the symptoms reported this weekend is that the mother is hearing music in her apartment. She's also got something living in her chair, a critter of some sort, even though the chair has been moved 3 times within the last year, like major moves from one location to another. It has a critter in it. I mean, there's like just lots of just out there reactive things that could actually be heightened sensitivity to things that I had not considered at all. So that's interesting. Maybe there is a critter in her chair and we're just not seeing it. And maybe she does hear music and we're just not hearing it. So.
Well, yeah, what if you're born, you start off at a certain frequency, and as you get older, it changes, like you were saying, but it's a bell curve. Eventually, you get back down to where you were, and you start seeing things. I mean, lots of children have imaginary friends, that they see and they talk to. And we just think, oh, it's just an imaginary friend. And I don't buy that. Like my mom told me I had an imaginary friend. But I don't ever remember sitting there talking to something that wasn't there. There was always something there if I was talking to it.
So were you an only child? Or?
No, I had siblings that were older. I had a sibling that was younger. No, this was when I was young. My sister may have just been born because this was in my first house. We moved when I was 4. And I remember this kid, Steve. And my mom told me, I'm just finally getting this right now. My mom told me this kid, Steve, was imaginary. But I thought she was talking about somebody else because I knew for sure that Steve next door, I mean, he used to wear the cape, the Robin cape. I was Batman, he was Robin. And this kid was real. I can see his face. And then my mom a few years ago told me that, no, Steve, that was your imaginary friend. And it never dawned on me that I just thought she was having one of her episodes. What if he wasn't really there and only I saw him? That just kind of blew my mind.
Like Drop Dead Fred.
Yeah.
My son, I probably told you guys this, but yeah, we moved into a trailer when he was probably 2 and a half maybe, just really getting around on his own a lot. And his little friend in his room that was playing with him, and his little friend in his room that would like his toys but couldn't play with his toy. Even though he told him he could play with his toys, his friend couldn't play with his toys. Lots of crazy shit like that. And then suddenly his friend got mean. Suddenly he didn't want to see his friend anymore because his friend would show him ugly faces. And sometimes his friend would say ugly things and make ugly noises. And then finally he got to the point where, friend, you got to go. So we had a little talk with the friend, and where's he at in the room? And he pointed to where the friend was over in this little weird corner hidey hole thing. And we explained to the friend it was his time to go and go ahead and get out of here and go where he's supposed to be because it's not where he belongs anymore and all this kind of stuff. And the friend went away. But yeah, crazy stuff. And then the idea that, like you say, the curve back around to that same frequency, attuned to things a little beyond, would actually make sense as you are closer to the source, and then you get here in like middle age or whatever, and then you're going back closer to the source. So I don't know. That's a new brain breaker. Thank you.
Well, we've only got about 5 minutes left, so hopefully we can get more of a cheerful vibe at the other side of the break. Yeah, I will recaffeinate, try to reset, and we will come back with some space lettuces. See, Alan's got some space lettuce for us.
Nice. Yeah, they've really cranked up the whole, like when I go to my homepage or whatever, my search homepage, it's NASA, SpaceX. It's just covered again.
They heard you complaining about not seeing enough. So. Here you go.
Yeah, the algorithms are kicking in now. Yeah.
They got caught slacking. Let's see, I didn't check it today yet. Neanderthal man, something or other. Ooh, the Carolina Reaper. Eating 3 Carolina Reaper peppers. Yeah, no way.
Not for me.
So you ever grow any of those hot peppers?
Carolina Reaper's lightweight now. I watched this weird thing this
it
weekend
was
about
the hottest for a couple years, and now they've gone crazy.
Yeah, there's some guy who made that pepper. He bred that pepper, and that's his whole gig is to make hotter peppers and stuff. And like they had this contest, and he introduced the Reaper at like number 6 out of I think 13 or 15 or something they were going to be eating. So yeah, that used to be the one that ended the contest for everybody, and they put it like a number 6.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy shit out there. Like basically you're eating military pepper spray at some point, you know?
Oh, it's beyond
That's
military
too
pepper
much.
spray. The Carolina Reaper. It's like 2 million Scovins or something like that. Just something ridiculous. My buddy, I gave him a bunch of them. You know, he loves real hot stuff. And I told him, be careful. Do not grind them up inside. Do not touch them. Do not touch your face after grinding them up. And like an idiot, he would ground them up with his hands. He just put the dry, because I always dried out the peppers completely, unless they wanted them fresh, because then they last a lot longer when you do that. And he just grabbed it, and he said he did that. He didn't go to work for like 3 days. He laid there with his hands in bowls of ice. They were blistered so bad. He said his whole hands were just a giant blister, just from getting all that oil all over his hands. It blistered his hands. Yeah.
Oh, then you want to eat it.
Yeah, I never ate
thanks.
one of those. I didn't even add that to any food. It's too hot. Just one pepper in like 2 pounds of meat is way too hot still. I do one Trinidad scorpion and 2 pounds of meat, and that was almost still too hot.
I grow the cayenne peppers, and they're sort of, you know, about the right temperature in a sense. But yeah, a lot of people say, "Oh no, they're too hot." And then I took them to markets once, and some Indian people come up and said, "Oh, what sort of peppers you got?" I said, "Oh, I got cayenne peppers." And they go, "Oh no, they're not hot enough." I'm like, "Oh shit, I can't win."
Yeah. Kung Pao, they like those. I had some people at the gas station that owned the gas station. They were Indian, and I would bring them all kinds of stuff. But yeah, they like the hot stuff. Yeah, cayenne is like salt to them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I like the jalapenos though. You can pickle them and then just chuck them on a little bit of salad and stuff. Just adds a little spice.
One year I had 4 Tabasco pepper plants, and it must have been the year of the pepper that year, because I got they were 2.5, 3 inches in diameter, the stalks on these pepper plants in 1 year. I mean, they were like trees. They were small trees. And I got 500 peppers off every plant. And they're not very big. Yeah, they're only about 2 inches long. They're not big peppers at all. But these bushes they were bushes. They were pepper bushes. They weren't plants. Yeah, it took hours to sit there. Me and my buddy just sat there on the bench and just, and I pickled, I think, 28 jars of peppers. Pickled Tabasco peppers. Yeah. And I got so much free dog food for those. Trading them in with the local shops.
That's the way to do it.
That is it.
Barter that stuff out. Anyway, this is the Ironworks. Holy jeez, Josh, Walt, Zach, and Lucas. We'll be right back after these briefest of messages. Welcome back to the Ironworx on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com, simulcast to YouTube, DLive, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter. I think that about rounds it out. Looking to raise the vibe a little bit from the first segment. Yeah, I got nothing.
You know what always makes me feel better?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, besides that.
All right, besides that, what?
Listening to the very first speech that Mel Gibson as William Wallace gives in Braveheart. The English army is marching into Scotland and meeting on the field. Was Bannockburn maybe? No, Bannockburn is where it all ended. But and all the guys are getting ready to leave, you know, they're running away when they see the English army. And he gives that speech, and every time he gives it, man, I get chills. I've seen it 50 times easy. Probably way more than that. I mean, that part of my VHS tape I used to have, the double VHS of Braveheart, whenever you get to that part, it starts like cutting out a little bit because I had watched it so many times, just that part. But yeah, I'd go watch it before basketball practice or, you know, soccer games, everything. Just whenever I needed to get a little adrenaline rushing, I would go and watch that. And it just got me pumped every time. I won't put you through it. Yeah, Liz, I agree. So much historical nonsense. But just one of those movies. Just raw and realistic. When I was, you know, younger and I loved all the blood and gore, that was like the first movie I ever saw that was like medieval and they didn't hold much back. I mean, it was gruesome, the battle scenes in that movie. But then there was the love and the, you know, that movie had everything. It really did. Yeah, that was, probably still is, my favorite movie. But yeah, Braveheart, great scene, great. Yeah, Liz says in chat, hers is from Independence Day, from the president. Yeah, at the end, we will not go silently into the night. Yeah, I get chills on that one too. Isn't it weird how
Remember that one
movies
scene in Braveheart where he's on the horse and he's got the mace?
Yeah,
that was also that was gruesome.
Goes up to that guy in bed. Yeah,
I was pretty young when I seen that, and I was just like, yeah, that's the first time I'd seen. Yeah, the dude got his like leg chopped off and that, and I was just like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was telling that story earlier, that's what I was thinking of. That guy standing there and his leg just getting lopped off. Or the one guy, he takes the beer right through the eye. Oh, man. Okay, I'm done. I won't say anymore.
It was funny when they like mooned the whole army, though.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of movies, Liz in chat is asking me to talk a bit about a film that I'm still going back trying to figure out which film she's talking about. Oh, The Fountain. Oh, Lord, Liz. I've seen that movie probably 4 times and read a really amazingly done graphic novel I found at the library some years ago, like probably 4 now. And it's at least been that long since I read that graphic novel that I've exposed myself to that material. I do know it had a lot to do with reincarnation, frequency, carrying things through time. The details of it, again, I would have to watch it. I haven't. I actually recommended that to
John Savage.
John? Yeah. Oh, and I think Bob as well. Bob, one night I told him we were talking about movies. And it just, I guess that movie's been on my mind. I need to watch it again. So, and I own a copy somewhere. It's one of those I've loaned out so many times to show people how good it is that I probably actually don't currently have it in my possession, but I'm sure I'll be able to find it. So that'll be my homework.
It's like Donnie Darko. It's one of those things your brain needs to chew on it for a little bit. It has to percolate. And you watch it, you're like, what the fuck did I just watch? Like, what the fuck did I just watch? And then you watch it again 6 months later, like, oh, okay, yeah, that's pretty good, I guess. I mean, I don't understand it, but it's pretty good, I guess. Then you watch it 2 years later, like, oh, then you start really pulling some deep meanings out of it. You got to watch it like 4 times, and it's got to be over like 5 years, because
as you've changed, right?
Yeah, it says a whole lot, like Donnie Darko does, and you've just got to be able to let your brain process it. I'm sure there's explanation videos and things like that, but
I almost suggested that I know there's a few YouTubers I watch who tackle movies and get into some of the analysis, and now that I say that, I don't think I've ever seen one of them handle that movie. I don't know if it's one that's that easily analyzed. So yeah. Oh, shout out to Bob. Speaking of Bob, there in chat. But yeah, definitely, I will put that on my list to watch this week so I can get a little perspective to actually be able to discuss it with knowledge, because it's just memory that's very, very strange stuff. I remember for sure.
Maybe I should watch it too, just to check it out now.
Oh yeah, if you haven't seen it, definitely see it, Lucas. It's good. It's definitely good.
I was showing Austin. We were out here in the garage having a awesome chat. That young man is sharp. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's figuring it out. But I remember that Under the Silver Lake, where they talk about the guy and lives in the castle, and he writes all the songs.
Wrote all the music, right.
Yeah. Well, he's sitting there. I wrote this. He's laughing at him. I wrote this, and I wrote this. Well, he's like, and I wrote this, and he starts playing a Bach song. Now, that's insane when you think about it. That's supposed to be, hundreds of years old. And he's claiming. So how do we know anything that is older than our grandparents, how old it actually really is? What if they are making up Mozart stuff right now? They're still making Shakespeare stuff right now. I remember when I was in high school, someone said they had found something written by William Shakespeare, and they knew it because of the way that it was written. And they added it to his collection. So what if they're just, they're still writing Bach and Beethoven and Mozart and all these, they're still being written right now by people.
Probably so. And then they find them buried in somebody's basement or locked away in some vault and release it to the world.
Yeah, I don't know when these songs were released. I always thought they were played forever. Since Beethoven wrote it and it was first in a symphony, you figure, there's always been Beethoven symphonies and they've always played these songs. But we don't know this. That song could have been first played 70 years ago. And none of us would know the wiser. But we think it's so famous because we've heard it so many times and so much pop culture. Yeah, that just really gave me something to ponder and think about. I was like, wow, he just said that he wrote a Bach song. But yeah, he could have. Somebody could be writing a Bach song right now. Yeah, it is. It's all his story. That's all it is.
That'd be Have No Sphere.
I'm not.
Sorry, Bob and Chet was
I'm writing songs, but it isn't Bach. That's for sure.
Well, yours pretty good though.
It is heavy.
Yeah, sorry, boy. Wagner. Not Bach.
Wagner. Sorry, I had to.
Said with a V.
Yeah, Wagner.
Like nuclear vessels. Sorry. Just to take a left before we run out of time for this segment. I think we're about halfway. That's not too bad. I came across a book this weekend and thought I'd pick it up. It's called The Secret History of the World. Illustrated Secret History of the World. It's by Mark Booth. I picked it up just from the title and then looked at the imagery, kind of thumbing through it thinking, oh, this will be another one of those, like, badly assembled, badly written, like you usually find books like this in those types of stores I was in, and for just mass consumption books that really are not well made. But as I have gone through this, literally, I just started reading it yesterday, and within 6 pages, I already think I have something that's going to be an interesting read. And if you guys don't mind, I'll just read a little bit to you. This is the introduction. As I said, this is just kind of here's what we're going to be getting into. And I was like, okay, we might like this. This is about the Pope back in the day, Pope John Paul II in 2004. Let me make sure I'm on the right page because I didn't mark everything yet. I don't want to mess up the book. Okay, so this book originally was published in 2008 in a non-illustrated version, and it caused outrage in some conservative Catholic circles in the first instance because of the claim that as a young man, Karol Joseph, and I can't ever pronounce his last name, I'll try it again, Wojtyla, that's the guy who became Pope John II, had been part of an esoteric group exploring anthroposophy, or anthroposophy, thank you, an esoteric Rosicrucian-influenced movement founded by Rudolf Steiner. However, the facts of the case are incredible, and new and intriguing evidence has since come to light. His spiritual teacher at the time was called another unpronounceable Polish name I won't murder. Under a theatrical troupe called the Rhapsodic Theater. Karol also called him a friend and shared a home with him. Together, they staged production of Steiner's mystery dramas, with Karol playing various roles, including the seer John and Sagittarius. The aim of these dramas is to induce a higher state of consciousness, and it was in 1944, while walking away from one of this group's missions, that as a young man, lost in thought, he was run over by a truck, temporarily lost consciousness, and had his first experience of higher worlds. Karol Wojtyla, I cannot say the name, never, I've lost it. Where is it? Okay, where is it? In 1975, he published a book of esoteric philosophy, The Art of the Living Word. Now, he was by this point cardinal. He wrote in the preface about his experiences. Man, this book is hard to read. It's really badly printed on the small, this is like underneath a picture, so it's really tiny print. In February 2016, hundreds of letters and photographs were published telling the story of John Paul II's close relationship with a married woman which had lasted more than 30 years. And then he goes on into his relationship with her. So like I'm saying, just within page 6 of this book, we're already going into the hidden history of the fact that a pope at one point was basically looking into a cult. Then on another little page, I marked just for you, Zach, this one is talking about Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton was a matchless genius who devised a way to describe the material universe in a new, objective way. Modern science and technology then became feasible too, and in short measure, the world was trussed up in a net of iron and electricity. Yet, the modern materialistic view he made possible, and which dominates intellectual academic life today, is not one he would have recognized. Newton believed he was engaged in a mind game with an intelligent universe, that he was working to crack codes with both the universe and sacred scripture, and if he succeeded, he would move humanity on to a new stage of its evolution. For Newton, alchemy was the methodology he chose to pursue his plan, and which was not, he chose to pursue his plan, which was not to use his mind to analyze dead matter, but to interact intelligently with a higher cosmic mind. In the document below, which is printed here, he lists the great alchemists in history according to nationality. At around the same time, he notes stories and details of his alchemical experiments, including the documents above, The Hunt for the Green Lion, a popular alchemical symbol, As in the Ripley scroll of the 15th century, the green lion denotes Mercury, an element in between matter and mind, both in nature and in the constitution of a human being. By absorbing the power of the sun, as plants absorb sunlight to grow, Mercury gains the power to make crucial changes. By hunting the green lion, the alchemist can change both himself and the world. So I think this will be an interesting read.
Yeah, that's very interesting. India. In India today, they eat raw mercury.
Right. So, I mean, from what I see, this guy, and then he also talked about it in the introduction. He's been exposed to a lot of the same things we've all been exposed to, lots of different esoteric writings and philosophies, and he kept waiting for someone to come up with the book, the history, the real, true history of this, at least our culture, maybe not the world. And that's kind of his start, is he said, well, if I can't, if nobody can find it, then I'll write it. So, I don't know, as I pursue it, I'll definitely share with you little bits and pieces. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Alan. Alan in chat with a super chat saying we need to criticize what I read or we're violating copyrights. Well, there you go. I think I've criticized it a bit myself there, Alan. Thank you, sir.
About this idea about when you're looking at the Catholic Church and all their sort of their processes they go through, or their formalities and the things like they do, it's almost like they've held on to these old types of how the world used to be, but they've forgotten everything that it's sort of the meaning behind it, in a sense. Just my sort of little idea on it. But, even the way they dress, how everything's really sort of lavish and, especially when you look at the old mud flood buildings and how lavish everything is for those, you're just like, are these guys actually sort of retaining actual history, but they've sort of forgotten or maybe they haven't forgotten, and maybe we just haven't recognized that what they're playing out, doing all the singing in these buildings, and I don't know, it's just interesting to look at it through a framework that they've maybe held on to traditions that we no longer recognize that they are actually, this from a pre-mud flood or whatever it is, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I find it hard to believe that they build all of these cathedrals the way they do for no real specific purpose. Either they're just a bunch of assholes that like to flaunt how much money they fleeced off the public, or there's a very specific reason they build their sanctuaries and everything the way that they do. Maybe it's a combination of the two.
And, and especially when you're thinking about, like you're saying that these guys in higher powers understand the occult. They do, because you have to understand the occult to actually say, do the reverse of it and hand that to the public. You know what I mean? You have to have the basis of understanding to actually give the reverse of something. You cannot, do you know what I mean? You can't tell someone, how not to get there if you don't know how to get there yourself, sort of thing, I guess I'm sort of bumbling that a bit, but you sort of know what I mean.
Absolutely. I mean, he actually mentions that in that intro that I like. Before that, he talked about the fact that as this is presented, as it's gathered and presented, and what's going on? Hello, are y'all hearing me? I suddenly froze up, it looks like.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, hear you.
Well, that's strange. This computer hasn't done anything like that since I started with it.
Mine's been goofy too. I don't know what the stream
maybe
looks
it's Skype.
like. But
It's not my computer. Maybe it's just Skype acting out, because all of y'all just got froze up looking.
Weird. Yeah, mine's been choppy all morning.
Well, when I came in, I had to actually sign in to it, which was unusual, which made me wonder if I wasn't going to have some issues. It's like it was signed out, which is not something I ever do. So anyway, sorry I got sidetracked. Damn it, I lost the thread, Lucas. Completely messed myself up. The book, the intro.
Talking about the understanding and the ability to, the refinement, I guess, of a process that is able to feed the exact opposite of that message out to the public.
Right, exactly. That's what he's talking about, is that all these people, these leaders have, as they've understood these things and assimilated into themselves, you know, sometimes under literal threat of death, they could not just go out and expose the things they had learned. So they used their art, their science, their music, their whatever as a way to get that info out there in hidden ways, occulted ways. Lewis Carroll's books, they talk about Jonathan Swift's book. I mean, this is all, like I said, within the first 10 pages, this guy's kind of laid out a groundwork of this world that we're in being built on these old mystery schools.
Yeah, well, I don't know, if you have a look at some of Marty Leeds' work and that English cipher, and when you start actually playing around with how it correlates to things, they definitely know how to use, and even their symbology. Obviously, you see the symbols like the eye and the triangle, which is the eye of providence. So yeah, exactly. That's the same thing on the front of that book there. But yeah, they know these old, and these things are even built into the architecture of some of the older buildings. So it's not like, you know, there's not a discrepancy there, and they do know what these symbols mean, and you know, there's always hints at it, and especially if you are able to use that English cipher and recognize what some of the numbers mean and how they actually, where they fit in this sort of schematic, because it's all part of geometry, music. It's basically, as far as I can tell, it is the old way of teaching someone, which is the trivium and the quadrivium, and that's what it really relates to. But it's the proper way, which is the quadrivium is about mathematics, geometry. It's about music and astronomy. So it's telling you lots of different things, and they've basically applied this science, which are those four elements, to lots of different areas, whether it be building and things like that. So, you know, they understand it. They understand that's why they flash the 33, which is a harmonic, and they flash that eye providence, which is the mercurial eye, or that center, and it's speaking also about the flat Earth, which is really, really interesting, and how, you know, it is the center of our world, or the Polaris, and it's actually starting to explain where we live as well. So it's all in there. It's just takes a little bit to unravel, and when you see those symbols, not to get offended by them, but actually take them as that they've stolen, and they're actually, you know, sort of showing off in a sense. That's my rant.
No, I'm there with you, friend. Oh, wow. We've almost ate up enough for 30 minutes.
Yeah. Only got about 90 seconds left.
You're getting good at this, Lucas.
Oh, thanks, Arnold. Yeah.
And I suppose
those rants feel good.
We are working on getting Marty Leeds on. Sort of working on getting Marty Leeds on. There's been whispers in the breeze of Marty Leeds coming on HNS.
There are whispers.
Which is have no sphere for those not in the know.
Right? I saw that earlier.
Well, this Friday is
this Friday we're going to have
on the Have No Sphere. Is that correct?
Doing what?
Bring your spouse?
No. This week is Alex and Allison.
This week we're having, Allison and Alex, and
awesome.
Some live role playing, perhaps call-ins.
Next Friday, not this coming Friday, but next Friday is
Bring Your Spouse to Work Day.
Right.
And then that Flat Fellow will be the week after. So yeah, we just got some stuff in the works, but Marty will be coming up here real soon, I'm hoping.
Awesome.
And if he's an early riser, or I guess an afternooner, he can come hang out here if he'd like. Anyway, we're about to take a break, so I'll shut up.
Censorship and regulation is becoming an ever-growing problem in today's modern media, from the mainstream to YouTube and Google.
is dark matter?
Okay, we don't know.
That's great. That's why it's called dark.
It's exactly.
Everyone knows all reputable information comes from random people on the internet. Tell me things, internet. The earth is flat. It's like school in your hand.
Dark matter is something we do not know what it is. We believe that dark matter is there, but we have never detected it. Well, what I'm afraid of course, is that there is no dark matter out there.
There was one?
There is no dark matter out there. We need to think really hard, to think really hard, to think really hard.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
I like the way he talks.
Him and Biden should have a conversation.
One of these days, we're gonna have a few people sitting down having their conversation. That I'm gonna watch the movie Sling Blade. Get some outtakes for sure. Some sound bites. Who was that who did Sling Blade?
Billy Bob Thornton.
Gosh, he did great in that.
Oh, yeah.
He really did.
Pretty amazing stuff. I actually started looking for my copy of it on DVD when I told you guys to check out the behind the scenes to hear that song, and I apparently have let it go to someone as well, so I'll have to reacquire a copy of that. Really, just for that behind the scenes of that gentleman playing this theme song, Daniel Illinois. I've looked for it on YouTube. It's not there, not that version. Anyway, but yeah, great movie. And probably eventually will have to be removed from our collective, whatever, because it's offending people at some points, I'm sure. What was it that, never mind, I better not go there either.
Just a quick.
Yeah, there was.
I was going to say a public service announcement that people do not have the right to not be offended. It's okay to be offended. Just saying. This whole cancel culture that we got going on around here, that where you can't tell an off-color joke, where going blue now will make you lose your livelihood. In the mainstream, anyway.
Yeah, it's scary. It's weird how what's the word? Fascism comes to mind when you look into definitions and stuff like that. What's going on all around the world, not just in this country, but everywhere. This policing speech. And policing just what you do. A lot of these First Amendment auditors, they hear, well, your activities are suspicious. It's like, what do you mean suspicious? Of what? Of suspicion of what? What? Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I'm hearing an echo. Anybody else?
Yeah, I think that was Walt.
Exactly. There were times when I was doing Jack that I actually felt retarded, like really retarded. I mean, retarded. I would bust retarded. Damn. In a weird way, I had to sort of just free myself up to believe that it was okay to be stupid or dumb.
To be a moron.
Yeah.
To be moronical.
Exactly. To be a moron.
An imbecile.
Yeah.
Like the dumbest motherfucker that ever lived.
Play the character.
When he was a character.
Yeah, I mean, as Jack, definitely.
Yeah, Jack. Stupid ass Jack. Trying to come back from that.
In a weird way, it was almost like I had to sort of fool my mind into believing that it wasn't retarded. And by the end of the whole thing, I was like, wait a minute, I flushed so much out, how am I going to jumpstart it up again? It's just like...
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
You was farting in bathtubs and laughing your ass off. Yeah. But Simple Jack thought he was smart, or rather didn't think he was retarded, so he can't afford to play retarded, being a smart actor. Playing a guy who ain't smart but thinks he is, that's tricky.
Tricky.
It's like working with Mercury. It's high science, man. It's art form.
Yeah.
You an artist.
That's what we do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hats off for going there. Especially knowing how the Academy is about that shit.
Wait. About what?
You serious? You don't know. Everybody knows you never go full retard.
I just watched that movie yesterday. Sitting here shaving,
You just watched
Floating
it,
off
and I watched it
water.
like last week. That's why it was on my mind. That's nuts. I haven't seen it in years, and I just thought, I need to see this.
Yeah. I don't really watch movies so much anymore. If I've seen them, especially comedies, I love comedies, I just listen to it.
So I watched this guy make this song online. Watch him build it up on this little MIDI controller that he's got and adjust the beats and all that good stuff. And I swear this song is just always playing somewhere in the background of my mind. And every once in a while, I'll tap into it and hear it, but I think it's always there. He did a couple different remixes and versions of it too. Just kills me.
I love the bass line.
Yeah, that's good. A bad little beat.
Yuri Wong over there on YouTube. Y-U-R-I, Yuri. W-O-N-G.
What nationality is that? Because Yuri kind of sounds, I don't know, Russian, Eastern European.
Uh-huh.
And then Wong kind of threw me off there. Though I guess Russia is technically part of Asia. Maybe there are quite a few Wongs in Russia. I don't know. Never been there. All I know is from what I know from pop culture.
Exactly. I was unmuting to say, yeah, I saw it on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. I just got back to chat trying to play all this share and seeing that apparently Rose is in the hospital. I did not know this. I am
She
so out of
had
touch.
surgery yesterday. It went well.
Good. I'm glad it
She's
went
getting
well.
better. And hopefully she'll be out here real soon.
Well, goodness.
Yeah.
I leave for one weekend and I didn't have a clue. My goodness. Sending lots of love and healing your way, Rose. For sure.
Yeah, Jason was visiting her yesterday. She's been going live again. She's feeling better. She's looking good. She's looking real good, I guess, compared to what she was looking like. Yeah. So she's, getting better. That's good stuff. Glad to hear it. Love your Rose.
Definitely.
Big shout out.
I'm also seeing a question from Liz in chat asking, we don't see squares in nature, do we? That used to be a thing I used to go with, that nature doesn't create squares or straight lines, and then I saw bismuth crystals.
First thing I thought of when she said that, I thought, well, bismuth makes pretty square structures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you get down to the base shapes, a cube is one of them. And they are a part of nature. Like they'll say nature doesn't draw right angles. Well, it kind of does. You just got to look in the right spots. Crystals are amazing, all that kind of stuff, the formations in minerals. When you get down in there and look real close, there's a lot of right angles in there.
Yeah. Or your salts as well, they're cubic. Mm-hmm.
I like the way he talks. But no, I was talking more. Searle was talking about squares as in numbers, like the squaring of numbers, the way he did
I
things.
just didn't go back far enough. I see that.
Yeah, equaling it out in nature is, you can put random numbers into a square, little boxes, kind of like tic-tac-toe. And if you get them to all add up equally, no matter which way you add them up, right to left, up, down, diagonally, when they all equal even, that's kind of the way nature does things. It takes everything that you have and it mediates it and tries to get it all equal. So that's how Searle's brain was working.
What's interesting about those squares, they're in the Jain cosmology, which is sort of a part of, I think it's from the Eastern, which is closer to India and things. But they had those squares as well, and they'd equal a certain number on each line, and each planet had a actual certain box and amount of numbers and a certain digit that it would equal as well. So it's pretty interesting. Even this goes way back to really old sort of cosmologies as well.
Yeah, definitely. Searle wasn't the one who invented this, at least in his story. There are plenty of really old pictures and stuff like that where these squares are present. And
they're called magic squares. Usually, I think you can look them up under that, the magic square, and that's what you'll find. Yep.
Is that the whole point of the game Sudoku?
I think so. Robert Page said the same thing in chat. It was the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I love Sudoku, but they get to a point where you're just like, wow, this is too hard.
See, I've never played them. I need to start seeing the world in this way. Train my brain that way. I'm going to start playing.
They're fun. They're good fun. Yeah.
They just look like math to me, and I'm good at math, but I hate doing math problems. It's just like,
yeah,
they overdid it in school.
Repeat this math problem 47 different times in my head trying to figure out what it is. Thanks, this is fun.
Well, Sudoku is not quite maths. It's more like you can count from 1 to 9, and then it's like figuring out where a number should go. Yeah, it's a puzzle rather than a math equation, which is difficult.
They need to make a Zelda type Sudoku game.
What's interesting? Well, I've noticed that because I play drums and things, when you play drums, you actually seem to use that same part of your brain that you would when you're trying to think of a math problem. It's almost like thinking upwards. It's like thinking upwards. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but you're trying to reach for something that, out of the ether to give you the answer sort of thing. But that similar thing when you're trying to learn a drum beat happens.
Yeah, I was
playing with my guitar. With my looper pedal yesterday. It's got like 100 drum beats built into it, and it has like where you can change the time completely. Like you can go from 4/4 to 11/8. Crazy shit like that. So yeah, I'm completely lost. I get it, but trying to play it on a drum, I would be lost. If I can't tap my foot and play my guitar to it, then I'm lost. Oh, speaking of guitar, I'm sorry. Side note, Liz in chat, I promised you guys I would put up a song this weekend. I have it on my phone. I just haven't gotten it to the site yet. So my apologies.
Ooh, teaser. What song?
But just another Joe Satriani. That's where I'm at. That's the phase I'm in right now. So I'm still playing his music. So I will. It's just me, like literally after months of no playing, and then trying to get all my sound right, just throwing my phone on and recording something. So it's got mistakes and the whole 9 yards. Me complaining about my mistakes. So yeah, but enjoy. I'll throw it up there probably after the show.
Nice.
Look, she's giving me a frowny face. I know. I'm apologizing. I'm sorry. I meant to do it. I really did. I've recorded it. I just don't have it up yet. But it will. It is. And there was something else I decided I was going to put up too. What was that? Oh, yeah. Never mind. It'll be a surprise.
You know, I'm learning as I'm sitting here playing with this copper wire, getting ready to make my first coil. I have a lot of respect, more respect, which is hard, for the gentleman that figured out all this stuff, whoever it was, whether it be the names we're told or, you know, names from ancient times that we just kind of stole this stuff and reverse engineered it and then relabeled it. However it may be, the people who played with all this copper wire and sat here and spun it around the coil and all this stuff, man, this stuff is, it's very tedious. It really is. And to get it perfect, it takes time. I mean, you could just wrap it, you know, but to do it like a Tesla coil, where every coil is perfect and none of them overlap and everything is just so beautiful, it's an art form. It's a skill. Yeah, so I got to give hats off to the people who do this stuff today. I mean, it's not hard. It's just tedious. It's like art. You know, the more you put into it, it seems the more beautiful it looks. It just takes time. But yeah, I'm deciding. I was going to buy bare copper wire, but actually the stuff with the rubber coating was cheaper. So I got the cheaper stuff, and I decided I'm going to treat this copper wire like a plant. As I'm sitting here shaving off all this stuff, I'm going to talk to the copper wire and put, you know, that intention into it. I want it to gather electricity for me and let it flow and better than any other copper wire out there. This copper wire is going to, I mean, it works with plants. Why not? We have dominion over all this stuff, not just the things that we think are alive or know are alive. So this copper wire is alive. We're friends now. And I'm cleaning it up, talking nice to it and telling it it's good and that it's going to gather lots of electricity for me. It's not going to let any of it escape. And we're going to see what happens. But yeah, I think that's the part of all this stuff that they don't want us to know. You know, when you do it and you put that intention, because the person making this at the factory does not care. You know, I didn't care. I wanted the buckets not to leak, you know, and break if they fell. Things like that. I wanted so I didn't get in trouble. It wasn't because I wanted the product to be so great for this person and this and that. So there was no real good intentions put into any of the stuff I was making. And I'm sure it's like that everywhere. People just want the paycheck. But when you put that love and good intention into it and you will it to do the things that you want it to do, amazing things happen. So yeah, I'm applying that to the electronic things that I'm going to build. And go from there, see what happens. I think so much of it is about intent. So much of this place. I think intent is everything. But yeah, that could be crazy. We'll see.
No, I think you're correct, sir. It's all about the intent.
I was watching something interesting the other day, speaking of sort of mechanisms and electricity and things like that, but it was basically that have these different devices, and you'd use the taps in your house. So you just plug it in, and it'd spin the water would spin the wheel, and it'd say it was for a fan, or one was for a massager and things like that. So back in the day, they used to use water to power things, even powering a sewing machine and things like that. So pretty interesting.
Well, yeah, that's the main reason I wanted to, well, not the main reason, but kind of, I really want to learn how these generators work, how I can, because we have a really good flowing water source right in the backyard. So I want to know, if things hit the fan, that I could build something or already have it built, or at least know how all the wiring works. If, something we did buy broke, that I could repair it. And once you get the basics down, it's really simple. And that's just where I'm starting right now. I want to make my first one, just not to gather electricity or do it, just to get the concept down and then tinker a little bit and play with the coils and, because they tell you, that's the one nice part about not being educated in any of this stuff, is you've never been told the limitations.
Yep, no preconceived
or how it shouldn't be done. So yeah, you figure it out yourself. And maybe you're going to stumble onto that one thing that they're hiding from you that's just so obvious, but they've made it very obvious that it would never work in their teachings. When in reality, it's just like, boom, yep, that makes sense. It works. So yeah, I'm very blessed that I haven't been, a path set in front of me. I don't have a path to walk on, to stay on. I'm making my path as I go. Okay, that rant's over. Sorry.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Wow. Well, I guess we're almost there again.
We are.
I was going to actually say we could dive into a bit of lettuce. The Alan Holman, line producer, extraordinaire, shared a story earlier. I had actually seen this morning and threw in a version of it as well. So I think since we double, and you probably have it in there as well, Josh, but we'll talk about it, I guess, after the break. It probably will require a bit more than the 2 minutes that we have right now. So another teaser for you guys. Shout out to everybody there in chat and to some of the missing folks that were asked about earlier. One of them has arrived. Dawn got here, but we're still missing Connie and definitely missing Pablo. Where are you at, Brian, who keeps sending me raid requests while I don't have any remote raid passes? I'm going to probably grab some tomorrow and play with you, friend. But anyway, yeah, haven't been gaming like I used to. So, but definitely we miss you guys. Wish you all were here. Ipsy, I'm looking at you. If you get here about 5 minutes before we go off the air, I guess that'll work. I suppose.
It's happened before.
Candy.
It has happened once or twice. Indeed. Yes, Allison, it is definitely going fast this morning. I'd tell everybody, hey, I see Allison there this morning. Ben Flat, he's been there for a long time this morning as well. I've already said hey to Liz and Dawn and Alan. I see Lucas, he's in there too. I see your question. That's great. Yeah, that's great.
Just checking with the crew.
You're doing good, sir. You're doing good. Morning gets here. Good morning, sir. Robert Page, we mentioned earlier. Man, I'm scrolling slow now. What have I done? Pete Harlan, good morning, sir. I had to have you here as well. Tomanoid, always good to see you, friend. Diva, good morning, sweet Diva. Musicians for Truth, we still have not gotten together and jammed, man. I'm getting a power conditioner in today. It is coming in today. So get all that nasty background noise out of my stuff and I'll be able to play again. I mean, I can play now, it's just noisy. I said hey to Bob earlier. Jason Jones was here. We're definitely glad to have you here. Dan Morris, good morning, sir. I'm sure I've scrolled past too many people trying to get the list going here. Who'd I miss? Where you at, John Savage? You're supposed to be controlling this whole chat thing. Noel Watson, good morning.
Savage!
There we go. All right, I'm probably back at the beginning now. Scroll to the beginning. If I missed you, I still love you. Alexander Lightwater.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. September 2018. Extendivite works in keeping my blood pressure in the normal range. I've been using Extendivite for many years now. May 2018. Great product. I use regularly and I rarely get sick. March 20.
Real people, real radio.
Initiating the truth frequency. This is Truth Frequency Radio.
Here's a message of importance to millions of people who are continually pale and washed out, weak and run down. Doctors will tell you that these conditions are often caused by a deficiency of iron. The iron you need to keep you physically fit and mentally alert. Medical studies show that 2 out of 3 women and many, many men daily iron your body requires. In a form your body can easily use and put to work.
For you.
Not for me, okay?
Every dose gives you more than your daily minimum iron requirement.
We are awake, we are aware, we are not alone. We are striving for more.
So if you're not getting the iron your body needs, if you feel weak, run down, and are easily upset, start taking iron today.
And welcome back to the fourth and final segment of the Ironworx, right here on Truth Frequency Radio. Lucas and Zach and Walt and Josh hanging out this morning. I feel my vibe rising, so thank you guys. I do appreciate it.
Good, dude. I'm glad. Truly. Sending you lots of love. And you can reach out away from the show anytime things are crazy at your mom, with your mom, or anything. You know that.
No, I almost did, just because.
You certainly are able to.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, same with you, Lucas.
Indeed.
Anybody, yeah. That's what we're here for, I mean, we do shows and stuff like that, but the shows are just kind of us hanging out anyway.
That's it. Exactly. Helping each other through this crazy world. And speaking of friends who reached out when they were in a bind and have become permanent friends of the show, good morning, Nuka. Good to see you there, buddy. Glad you're there.
Much love, brother.
Absolutely.
Hope the sun is shining on you, my friend.
I was going to come visit you, but turns out we've now restricted travel to South Africa, to and from South Africa. So I think
really
try again some other time.
Damn it.
Credit card in hand, all ready to book my flight out there to go see Unkaleleko. And then I find out there's travel restrictions.
I had a call in from the Redwood Forest. Said, come see me. But I didn't answer the call from New Mexico. I've seen the Gulf Spring waters, which I will again when I'm visiting Walter down there. But no, for some reason, yeah. No, it took me 20 years to answer the calling from New Mexico. So I hear you, Redwoods. I'll be out there one day. I'm sure you'll still be there. But yeah, it was weird. It was yesterday actually. But yeah, you need to go see the Redwood Forest.
I was reminded recently of this giant tree out there amongst the really big trees. The name escapes me at the moment, and it'll come to me. I'm sure I could probably look it up while I talk. Probably not while I talk, but it's like this huge leviathan of trees.
Yes, and they've had the tree surrounded the road that used to be surrounding the tree. I know what you're talking about. Is it in Africa?
I don't think so. I might just have to go ahead and try to look it up, or even try to remember where it was I heard it.
Are you talking about General Sherman?
I don't know. This has a...
Well, that's like supposed to be like the biggest tree that I know about. But that was when we were all looking at the No Trees on Planet Earth era of things. But yeah, there's a tree called General Sherman I can't remember. It may be in the Sequoia area. It may be in another. Let me look it up. And I could be wrong. It could be General Lee. I don't remember. I know it's something Civil War related, though. Hang on.
Sounds like a tank.
Well, I looked up biggest redwood tree, and I got that the largest redwood stands in Sequoia at an incredible 84 meters tall and 11 meters wide, but it doesn't give the name. Oh, down lower, I see General Sherman.
Sherman tree. Yeah, largest tree on Earth.
Is that the one in Borneo?
Now that's biggest. There's another tall one, it says, called Hyperion, which is the tallest tree in the world.
That's the one, Hyperion.
There we go. See, that actually, when I saw that rang a bell as well. So, okay.
That's a cool name.
Isn't that a cool name? That's how I knew it wasn't General Sherman, because I knew it had a name that was more befitting a Leviathan tree.
Because I think, isn't Sherman a tank? Isn't it a tank? No,
there is a Sherman tank. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the tank you meet your teacher at the bank with, right? All right, old school rhyme. Hyperion is a coast redwood in California that measures 115 meters tall. So it's the tallest. General Sherman is the most massive.
So the thing about Hyperion, I think it was discovered in now I'm losing it. Maybe 2006? Yeah. 2006. It was discovered by this two guys, Chris Atkins and Michael Taylor.
Yep, I just got to that. Yep.
Well, that's not very long ago to be actually discovering the
world. Right.
Yeah.
And when you look at this tree, especially in comparison to all the trees around it, you wonder how in the hell was it just discovered, like Columbus style? But even then, you'd think you would hear about it. See if I can't share it. This is going to be something.
I found it. The one I was talking about. The Great Banyan and the Archaria.
Yeah, those trees look crazy.
Yeah, it's in India. And it does the canopy where it's one tree and then it like spreads out, but it grows into the ground and roots again, but it's still all one tree. I'll share it in the chat.
So in that same article that you may or may not have clicked on, Josh, I see the trifecta, the world's tallest Hyperion, the world's largest General Sherman, and the oldest Methuselah. All these trees grow in California. I wonder what's going on energetically in California. I wonder if it's located on the ley line.
Well, talk about old growth. I mean, it's the world's tallest tree. How would you... I mean, even the forest around it is probably considered old growth. But just I'm baffled by the size of this fucking thing.
In 2006, that's just crazy.
That's what blew my mind, was that nobody knew this thing existed until 2006.
All the pilots and, sky, just all the people that are up in the air looking down on the earth, the satellites, Google Loon or whatever, Google Earth.
One of the best tools in a magician's bag of tricks is misdirection. So what if this is just to keep us from actually seeing where the biggest, tallest, biggest, largest, oldest trees really are? Because there's an article right below there asking, should we hide the location of these ancient trees? Because of idiot, people that tend to want to cut and burn things, slash and burn.
You gotta wonder if someone planted a magnet under with it.
There you
What
go.
the shit? Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the magnetic center
A
of
bunch of lodestone underneath there.
Well, this is why I think things were larger. Maybe it was not just the atmosphere, but maybe it was a whole magnetic thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, maybe so. That's maybe, and it could have happened.
Well, when you
too.
increase
How quickly that thing grew from Monday to the picture you sent us, that could be exactly it, Josh. That it magnetically grew quick, and that's why they didn't discover it till 2006.
Well, I took 3 magnets, just on a side note, and put them as close together as I could, and then put the glass on top of it, and then tried to squeeze them in just a little more. So I've got one with 1-button magnet, one with the 3-button magnet, and then one still with no button magnets. It's nutty. I need to take a picture because the one with no magnets is obviously, I mean, it's green. It's still growing. It's rooting. It's got nice little roots coming out into the water, but it's still, pretty small. The same size Phil has always been, always was. And probably the size the other 2 would be had I not added magnets is sort of the point of this. But when you see the growth in the first one with the first magnet, just the way that it's growing, it's so fast. It's like twisting itself together. The stems are really coming out, and it's dark green and big, broad leaves. But then the other one, which was a larger cutting, is doing the same thing. The leaves are getting bigger and broader and darker. And, well, because there's a lot more, but the stems and everything, they're really just taking off. So it's definitely bigger than the control, than the one with no magnets at all. That one is really tiny, but it's definitely a 1, 2, 3 comparison. You can definitely see that they're making a difference. It's ridiculous.
Well, if you think about it, and I've thought about this, that the atmosphere has changed over time, and basically, there's been more, say, electricity around us. And, when you got more electricity, obviously you're going to have more magnetism, so things are going to grow bigger. I sort of don't buy the whole, what was that movie, the trees on flat Earth with how big they were to some degree. But I do actually, I think there is something to a bigger version of what we've got now, in a sense. Maybe not to the extreme that they've said, that's all.
And maybe it's just a magnitude of magnetism. Maybe once upon a, it's hard for me to imagine trees that big too. It's one of the things that I have a real hard time getting around with that same thing. It doesn't make that much sense to me, but I still think that might be part of my ball paradigm creeping in. I mean, if it's an infinite plane, there's no reason things can't be that big. And things are just getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah, aren't things that big right now to an ant? I mean, we find giant bones. So if the people were huge at one time, just imagine how much bigger the trees were getting.
I was about to say that same thing, Zach. If we had Titans and Goliaths and Leviathans and all these other large, allegedly, again, this was history we've been fed, so who knows?
Oh, I'm not discrediting it at all, but yeah. Go, sorry.
No, I dropped a link in chat. It is for a description of Hyperion, and at the bottom there's a place you can do a virtual tour on your computer to actually see the tree and kind of really get some crazy shots of the area around it. It's pretty crazy. So enjoy that. It'll be, I guess I can link it in the show description so everybody can get a chance to see it. But yeah, this whole idea of the giant trees really was one I had to grapple with as well. And I think you're right, Josh. It's just still some of that other can't be that too. Every time we find something new, it's like, has it all been a lie? Yeah, I guess so. When I've gone digging through just for myself, I didn't want to watch it colored with someone else's, commentary or whatever. And when I can match up just about every mountain configuration to a stump configuration, it's pretty telling to me. I mean, literally every stump configuration, every mountain configuration, I've been able to see it matched to.
Yeah, tree stump.
Yeah.
The only other thing that the only other reason I didn't sort of go full into it was because there is an idea out there that stones grow. So
absolutely,
and they grow
quickly.
Quickly, as well as in those sort of patterns anyway. And it's almost like there's a similarity between
the way plants grow and the way
I know, but when you can break down the cellular levels and the actual different inner working layer, I don't know. I just did a lot of tree looking when I was a kid.
I'm not discrediting it at all because
I like not disagreement, but a different take. I love it because I'm definitely not have any more proof than anyone else. I've seen the same videos you guys are saying. It just made me dig a little deeper and look for myself, I guess, because it just doesn't. I mean, why would we have Leviathans and Titans and all this if we did? Again, these are just also stories we've been uncovering. I won't say we've been fed, but I found an interesting video this week. I'm going to share with you guys probably on Friday's show, since this is a radio that we're all working with today. But on Friday's show on YouTube, I'll see if I can get something together to be able to present it without it giving us too bad of a copyright strike. It kind of speaks to this idea of small and large and square things. Shout out earlier to our thing square. It really touches on all that. Interestingly, and size, really. This is all kind of crazy that I saw this yesterday and now we're having these questions today. And I'm not going to link it yet. I'm not going to spoil it yet. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lucas. I keep telling you to talk. Now I won't shut up. Go.
That's all right. I was just going to say, I've been looking at the old mud flood buildings or the older buildings, old world buildings. So, and when you see how high the actual walkways are or the entrances of these buildings
yesterday.
Yeah, you just you're not going to build a doorway that's nearly twice your height,
right.
Or
sometimes 4
what's
times.
the point? Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
25-foot doors
are huge steps over here, but then to the left you can see where they've built the smaller steps between each of those huge steps for normal sized people. That kind of crap.
Right, and it takes us back to the Catholic Church discussion. Either they're just a bunch of rich assholes showing off how much money they have to make things enormously big because fuck you, I can, or there was a practical purpose to it at one point and we've just repurposed it for our own.
Yeah, and I just think that they're still carrying on how this civilization might have acted, even though, obviously it's, if you just look at its surface level as the sort of things that they go through, like the singing and the choirs and how they set up their churches and things like that, it just seems like you're almost getting a glimpse at something that may have happened in the past. I don't know, it's just an odd way of thinking about what they're doing, but that's just a thought I had.
All these big giant organs and all these old churches built into them, almost as if they were using music, I don't know, maybe to heal. Maybe you'd go there to, get your frequency set right.
If you've never been in a church, I'm sorry, go ahead, John, Zach.
No, that's it. I was done.
If you've never been in a church that has an organ that's part of the building, not just sitting in the corner somewhere with big pipes, they have those, don't get me wrong, but it's literally part of the building. There was one in Jackson when I went to college and was in the choir there, and the music director was an amazing organist. And we went to this church to do some performances, and they let him, because they didn't play it often. It was old, and they didn't want to, I guess, mess it up, use it too much, whatever. He was playing the regular organ down front for us, but they let him go in there and play that thing for us while we were in that building. There's no way to describe that feeling. It literally vibrates through your soul. It's truly something, like you say, it's a frequency shifter, for damn sure. I mean, that's kind of what I learned there when we were doing the songs where the choir director was a tenor, so he would write crazy parts for us, and he would force us to learn them, and then get rid of the music so that we were singing from our soul, not from a page. And when we would hit those places and those frequencies, and it would vibrate through I'm getting chills now telling you about it. Yeah, you definitely are touching something outside of ourselves with that.
And they were built for that.
Yeah, I think when you look at the architecture, you look at the cities, how they're designed and things like that, the amount of thought, the amount of thought to the future that they've got, whatever they had back then is completely different to the way we operate. It's just it's chalk and cheese, and to think that they weren't about actually trying to live in a higher state and creating health was it's their society seems the opposite to ours. Basically, they crafted everything so well to such a high degree that we basically can't even understand how they did it. That's the level that they're at. So to me, when they're producing something, they're producing something for the benefit of, everyone.
Yeah, they put that intent into it while they were making it. That was, it was built for real purposes.
Absolutely.
To do great things. And we don't use them for that anymore.
No, not at all. We've just acquired them. Inherited them. We're getting real close to the end. I promised you guys a little nibble of space lettuce from our buddy Alan. Shout out to Salamo. We see you there, brother. Alan sent a story letting us all know, and I had seen it this morning. It's crazy. SpaceX is going to launch an all-civilian crew, and one seat could be yours. I'm looking at you, flat earthers. You can get up there and prove us all right or wrong, whatever the case may be. It's complicated. A rich guy put up some money, Jared Isaacman, putting up the big bankroll, $100 million. He's got people that are offering up videos from his tech company. They'll get a seat. Another, it'll be somebody else, blah, 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 sciences, da-da-da. The last seat goes to a raffle-winning person. A 30-second ad for the mission will be running during the Super Bowl this year to announce it to the public. I'm trying to find a link for you guys to go enter today, but I don't see the link here yet. So when the link is available, we will definitely get it out there. But yeah, so get ready. SpaceX will send you to space.
I ain't getting MK Ultra. I'd be
Spacey Smurf.
I need to be able to live stream from second one. As soon as I get there, before I get there, I live stream through everything. That'd be the only way I'd be able to do something like that. I would not go into a room alone with any of these people. Hell no.
Just got to spend 3 months with Marilyn Manson. That's all.
Yeah. Nope, I wouldn't do it.
I had to check someone. Let me go back and see. Was that boy? Of course it was boy. No, he is not 33 years old. He is 37. Just had to check.
And everybody remember what happened the last time they sent a civilian to space? Remember how that ride went?
Wasn't so.
I got 5 on it exploding. I'm just saying.
I
just dropped the link for those that want to enter.
You did find it. Thank you, sir. There we go.
Oh, you know what they say, Zach? Dead men tell no tales.
Mm-hmm.
All you have to do is give the Catholics a little money. They're hurting. St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital doesn't know where to find funding.
Yep, got to get that chemo into those kids. Fucker.
Man, my mom funds St. Jude's. So they're bullshit. They're full of shit. So many people give money to St. Jude's. I know it's probably not as much right now with all the stuff going on, but there's a lot of people out there that, my mom doesn't make anything, all right? She's living off of her Social Security now, and she still gives $10 a month, every month, to St. Jude's Hospital, just for the stuff they've done for people she knows and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm not saying that it's, you know, what they do there is good, but
what a morning.
A lot of the people there, you know, are good people. Love y'all.
Love y'all.
Thanks, guys.
Love you guys. If you get a minute, check out the logo for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. For some reason, they've bothered to include a little curvature of the earth there for you. Anyway, this has been another exciting show. We love you guys. Be good, be well. We will see you on Friday morning. Bye-bye.
Truth Frequency Radio is your #1 source for news and information without the hate, hype, and fear. We're proud to feature cutting-edge programs like Beyond the Veil with Chris